Before we begin, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DolanyTV and on Instagram at TysonDolany. You guys want to make sure you see what's going on behind the scenes here on DolanyTV. That's where to find it. Let's get going. This is DolanyTV, guys. A big welcome back to some Edmonton Oilers talk here on the channel. Of course, we've talked a lot of topics over this so far this summer, and starting to run out of things, but there's one topic I would like to address today, and it's a couple topics all mixed into one, giving you one good overview summary of why you should fear the Edmonton Oilers if you're any other NHL team in the league this season. The Oilers, what do we know from last year? Missed the playoffs, disappointments. It was just it was one of those 11 years kind of throwaway seasons, right? So for the Oilers, you got to come back and get ready to go. And my first kind of topic coverage of this video is going to be exactly that. A quote from one of the Oilers leaders. This guy's getting paid second most on the Oilers, so obviously he's a leader based on the salary. I'm talking about Leon Draisaitl now. Draisaitl was on a European player media tour for the NHL recently, and Sportsnet.ca has an article up about what he was saying on that tour. So I'll give you just a little bit of the back top of this article here. Leon Draisaitl knows the Edmonton Oilers had a disappointing season last year, but he's confident history won't repeat itself. Right in that itself, that's the lead of this article from Josh Benetow. So Josh is getting ready to set up a really good quote here. Draisaitl is quoted as saying, "I think we're too good of a team where we're not at least competing in the playoffs or not in the race." So he goes first to qualify that they're going to be competing in the playoffs, and then he comes back and retracts a second there in that last little bit of the quote saying, you know what, at least we're going to be in the race no matter what, but we should be competing in the playoffs. So right there, that's part one of the quote. Now part two. And even if we are, that's probably not good enough. So right there, bang. That's taking that second part of the first quote and throwing it back, right? He's saying that's not good enough for us this year, which it wasn't good enough for them last year either. They needed to make the playoffs last year. They knew that, and it just didn't work out. That is such the way life works. We want to make the playoffs, and I think we have the team to do it. Now it's up to the players to show it. So right there, he is putting it all on the team itself, not the coaching staff, not the management staff, not the ownership. It is all on the team, the guys in that locker room to get this job done. Now, if that serves history right, let's go back to what happened last year. Yeah, can't talk about the Oilers, can talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and a group of guys who believed in each other, fought out there and died for each other on the ice pretty much to get to the Stanley Cup final. Right there, that's all you need to know of when a group of guys in the NHL in the locker room take it upon themselves, believe in themselves, and know that management and the coaching staff have their best interest in mind, but they know they have to rely on each other first. Anything is possible, and that's where I'm saying the Oilers are definitely to be feared. If Leon Draisaitl's coming out and saying that's the mentality, that's a mentality to be feared 100%. So right there, that is simple like that. Fear the Edmonton Oilers right off the bat. 3:40 into the video, I told you. But now, there's a couple other components to this as well. The Oilers finally have a goaltending tandem, trio, whatever you want to say, that is not to be messed around with, right? You've got Cam Talbot. I've covered this in another video, but Cam Talbot, he could return to form from 16-17. Who knows? But then you've got Mikko Koskinen, who kind of a wild card in all this, but if he comes in and performs at an above replacement level, it is going to be fantastic for Oilers fans, because then you're going to have Cam Talbot struggle, Koskinen comes in, skates away with it, bing bang. I'm not saying that's 100% going to happen, but it's a possibility to be feared because the Oilers haven't had that in a long, long while, right? We've had Brossoit and we've had Montoya for the past couple seasons. Montoya, you know what, he's steady Eddie back there. He'll get the job done 50% of the time kind of deal. Brossoit about 25% of the time. Now we're talking Koskinen, who could potentially get the job done 65 to 70% of the time. That is a lot big a lot better and a bigger jump than we could have imagined in this offseason when we went into it, right? I know there were the Koskinen rumors right out of the gates, it seemed, but as soon as we signed him, finally everything came to fruition, and we've got ourselves what we need in terms of a group of goalies, right? Whether we keep Montoya, trade him, trade one, there's something to be said for this group of goalies that can't be said for anything we've had in the past couple of years trying to push for a playoff spot. So that is absolutely massive. Like I said, the group of guys believe in themselves, and the goalie situation at long last going into this season finally appears to be figured out, right? Now don't mind yourself that Stuart Skinner has to come into that fold somewhere along the road here soon, but that's a topic for another day, right? So we won't go there. Now the next question is the Oilers' free agent moves. These, right? They got a lot of flack on July 1st, not really making any big splashes, couldn't really afford to make big splashes. That's the problem. I think that's more what they got flack for than not making the big splashes, is they couldn't afford to make the big splash, and that comes with the territory of having a Milan Lucic signed to a $6 million deal, Chris Russell at $4 million, you know what I mean? Just a couple of bad contracts that really aren't helping out the situation whatsoever. But Kyle Brodziak, Tobias Reeder, and Kevin Gravel, those names aren't going to wow you off the score sheet, boys. They ain't going to do crap. But they are pieces that round out the Oilers lineup and give us an option to use our depth more than we have in the past couple of years, right? You think about a Kyle Brodziak on the fourth line with Cassian. You think about Tobias Reeder, who could slot in there on the third line with Jujhar Khaira and Drake Caggiula. Like, think about that, right? That is a nice little fit. I mean, Tobias Reeder's always been a nice fit in Edmonton because he was originally an Edmonton Oilers product. We just shipped him away or something happened there. That's so long ago, I can't even remember the full story. But you know what I mean? Those two guys fit up front. Kevin Gravel, by all accounts from what I've read, is that seventh defenseman that every team would like to have. Not that star-studded seventh defenseman who steps in, makes the impact, goes back on the bench, great guy in the locker room. No, just steady Eddie. Seventh defenseman gets the job done. Comparable to Eric Greiber from the guys I've talked to, but I'd say probably a step up because, I don't know, Eric Greiber seemed to always have a way back into Edmonton. So far he hasn't, so obviously Kevin Gravel's better if you follow my logic there. Just saying that out on a limb, but so Kevin Gravel, and like I said, the depth is there for the lineup now, right? And the other question is depth, right? Okay, I'm talking about the veteran guys, but the rookies that could step in. There is just guys waiting in the wings now. Like Tyler Benson is ready. There are guys just ready. Ethan Bear, I talked about it in the replacement for Sekera video. Obviously, he's going to be there to start the season, but Sekera comes back at some point. What do you do with Ethan Bear? He is ready to play, right? He is ready to play. So there is just that challenge of so much depth for the Oilers, which we haven't really had, right? When injuries come up, there is a lot of scared times in Edmonton because we got to call up this guy who's like, oh, 2 games NHL experience from 2012. No, it's over. That's done. It's time to let the kids play. They're ready. They need to go. And it's been showing the Oilers finally have kids stepping into the lineup who are making a difference in the NHL. You need proof of that? Yes, sir, we had to wait it out on Jujhar Khaira a little bit, but look at the difference he made last season. Absolutely unreal. We get one guy like that on the front end and one guy like that on the back end this upcoming season. No problems about it. 100% the Oilers are in the playoffs, and like I said, already according to Leon Draisaitl, they're going to be there. So there's 3 things right there, and now this is, I'm saving this for the last little 45-50 seconds of my video just to touch on it for you guys. The top line is figured out, right? It's as simple as this. Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Ratty. You can run them through the rigors on every other line combination possible in training camp. That's got to be your opening lineup on the ice for puck drop in Game 1 of 82 in 2018-2019. They figured it out. Like, you want to see guys who lit it up with McDavid and actually were consistent game in, game out, even when it meant nothing, yeah, Nugent Hopkins and Ratty tenfold. That is what we were talking about when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers top line. Guys, the Oilers are to be feared. Don't kid yourself. They are a team hungry for the playoffs, hungry for playoff success, and I don't think if anyone's still sleeping on them, you gotta stop sleeping on them. Start fearing them. Let's get going. It's gonna be a great season. I'm Tyson. This is Dolan TV. As always, guys, I will catch you in the next one.